All right, let me first cut across to the very tragic developments that are coming in after the Air India plane crash in Ahmedabad. We're looking at investigation that now deepens. Most importantly, the DNA matches. Finally, families have managed to get mortal remains of their loved ones, not all of them, just a few. 4 days since the crash, and the heartbreak is only getting heavier. India's worst air disaster in decades has left behind more than wreckage. It's left hundreds of families clinging to hope, crowding DNA testing counters at Ahmedabad Civil Hospital, desperate to know if the body they're getting is really their own. 270 people are dead. That includes 241 that were on board that flight and 29 on ground at the BJMC college. So far, just 99 people have been identified through their DNAs, and only 64 families have managed to get their loved ones' mortal remains. The rest are too charred to be recognized. Among the identified, former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, he's one of them. Today we saw his funeral taking place. His body was handed over this morning. A full state funeral followed in Rajkot just a few hours ago. Very heartbreaking to see Vijay Rupani's family. In fact, Vijay Rupani was one of the 242 people on board that tragic incident in Air India flight AI 171 that crashed moments after it took off. Vijay Rupani was one of them on board. The London-bound Boeing 787 crashed on that BJMC college. It was a hostel that had medical students studying there. They were in fact having their lunch break at that point. So many of them were huddled at that very canteen. So the casualties are 241 plus nearly 26 at that college. And here are the scenes of funeral. More than 250 DNA samples have now been collected, all in all. But officials say many bodies were burnt beyond recognition. The wait could really stretch now for a few weeks. For many, closure may never even come. Incredibly, there was one survivor, Vishwaskumar, who was assigned 11A seat, and he walked out unscathed. This man here, we can't speak enough about him. The way we see that bodies are charred inside that plane that crashed. Here's a man who was inside that very flight, not even in the rear, right in the front, but managed to escape with hardly any scars. For the others, the sons, daughters, students, parents, colleagues, only one question remains. Could this have been avoided? Why was this aircraft allowed to fly? Why was there no system flag off? In fact, if there was any fault, could that have been detected earlier on? As families now bury what's left of their loved ones, trust in the skies, people wanting to take flights have taken a big hit. In fact, at this point, there are several questions being raised about how safe is it to fly now across the globe. I'm not speaking of India alone. The India's aviation watchdog have a lot of answers to do, and most importantly, the flight makers.